We late.
We're late.
We is late. Let's see how this works without it, cause there you go. I'm light skinned. You see the sun beam. We should trade places, honey.
You want to trade places?
Look at that.
Honey, there's nothing's gonna change
Let's
that.
change it. Let's see. Ready? Isn't that different?
It's different. Good morning, Mama Melinda.
Hey,
Just so
y'all.
you know, you're usually on this side. I'm usually on that side. So we're on the wrong sides now, but it's fine. Whatever.
Hey, y'all.
Happy Coffee Day Monday. It's one of those days. Like, it's just one of those days. Oh, yeah, you got to turn it around too.
Yeah. We have custom-made cups.
Yeah. So
What does yours say?
mine says, I'm not safe, I'm saved, which is a tagline in one of the messages that I've done. What's yours say?
Mine is a little bit more detailed. It says, I'm not interested in making America great again. I'm interested in making American free from sin.
America free from
America
sin.
free from sin.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for our cups from Tamaja.
No.
This one Tamaja?
Nope. I assumed it was. We don't know who made us these cups.
I thought Tamaja made these.
I reached out to Maija and I thanked her for the cups, and she was like, oh, well, I didn't make you guys cups. So
Can somebody tell us who made these cups?
somebody made us these cups, and what happened was
What happened was
our kids helped us open all our amazing gifts from Pastor Appreciation, and they were just opening the gifts, and we didn't see what was from who.
we didn't see.
Yeah, because we had all this amazing help from our kids. So we don't know who made these cups for us, but we love them. One of the things I like about this cup is it has like a little lip right there. So like when I'm drinking it, I don't know, it's like it keeps me from doing the whole, you know how you drink and then your drink falls down? Let's try it out.
Coffee.
Yeah, so we don't know who made these cups, but thank you. We like the cups. We like
Yes.
them very much.
Mm-hmm.
We just assumed it was Tamaja, but it is not. There are lots of creative people in our life, and we're gonna, hopefully somebody will let us know who did this for us, and we can
Pretty
thank them.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up, everybody?
I'm on my second cup today. I'm gonna try my best not to overtalk my amazing husband.
We'll see. We see.
But this second cup is good in my life. You guys know I have an
Hey.
espresso, and the Nespresso pods are life. And I got me some little coffee flavors.
Nah. Just regular coffee for me.
And he just has plain black coffee. So yeah, good to see you guys this morning. We had to move inside.
Yeah, because the wind was terrible.
We're like in the middle of a windstorm right now.
Terrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
So we're inside.
we're inside.
You guys, today has been one of those days. I was late for my workout today, and I'm ashamed to tell you that the workout is in my garage. Like, how do you show up late to a workout that's at your house in your garage?
Everybody was feeling it today.
It was just one of those days.
One of those days. I'm tired. Kaya's tired. We got a million things to do today.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just talk about this real quick. Today is a very special lady's birthday, and that special lady is my mother, Beverly Butcher.
Yeah.
Today is her birthday, and she is at the grand ripe age of what she wants to be. She can say what she wants to
Yeah,
be.
she can say.
And because I know my mom's old school. You don't ask a woman her age or tell it. So I'm not. But just you guys, give my mom a shout out on Facebook and just to, wish her a happy birthday. She's just an amazing woman.
Yeah, she is.
To us as a family and amazing friend. Her best friend, Papa, they best friends in this game, and you guys just reach out and just say happy birthday to her, just on behalf of the Butcher family.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Hello, Sabrina.
Sabrina.
Hola.
So we're going to talk today a little bit, not too long today, because can I just be honest? We tired.
It's just one of those days. I can't even tell you what exactly I'm tired from. I'm just tired today.
We're tired. I know yesterday after Sunday service, I came home and went into a sleep.
Were you in the third heavens?
The Lord literally caused me to sleep like Adam.
No, but those Sunday naps are anointed. I swear, there's something about Sunday naps.
Yeah,
They're good.
I was toe up. I don't even remember where I was at. But anyway, so, and then, of course, last night, and then we woke up to work out this morning with my boy Ed Scissorhands Carrasco. And Judah, we worked out this morning, and they're feeling their legs today. Trust me.
Monday's leg day for you guys too, right?
Leg day today, so.
We like to get leg day over with on Monday.
Yeah, it was terrible. But we want to talk about something that I don't think is talked about enough. And I think we as Christians get a dimension of what we're going to talk about. We just get a dimension of this subject, but we overlook most of it. So it's like we talk about grace.
Hi, Marlon. Hi, Alex.
But we don't realize that there is many levels and dimensions of grace.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to relationships. Is what kind of grace are we offering each other when it comes to relationships?
Yeah.
It's really important. Some of our friends, like even with Pastor Dr. John Harris.
Pastor Doctor.
Yes, Dr. Harris. God's really been speaking to him in his heart about loving each other and how we love each other. But you know what? A lot of times you could tell how much somebody loves somebody by how much grace they give them. And in the church, we should be able to give each other grace more than give each other, what's a word you can help use?
Grief?
Yeah. We need to be given more grace and less grief.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think the church is a perfect representation of all of our relationships, because a lot of times we treat our relationship with church the way we treat our relationships. Like when things happen, we have this cancel culture type of mentality. Like, hey, you offended me or you upset me or that hurt my feelings, therefore I'm canceling you. And we do some of our relationships like that. If you don't agree with me 100%, if there's something that you do that hurts my feelings, that's it. And a lot of times we don't measure the amount of grace appropriately on what's needed in each relationship. Grace is needed in every single relationship, and especially being married couples. You know, this year has been really hard for us. It's been hard for everybody, and I'm not just saying for Pastor John and myself. I feel like everybody's going through this obstacle course. 2020 is like a Spartan race, and everybody's in the race.
Everybody's in the race.
Dude, everybody's muddy. Everybody's hurt. Everybody has an injury. Everybody's tired. Everybody has contemplated the thoughts of giving up and just doing lots of things, but everybody's in it, and everybody's tired, and we're all weary. And because of that, because we're on this crazy obstacle course, we're not realizing how much grace is needed for our relationships right now. I heard somebody give this analogy about 2020 being this major pressure cooker. Like no matter what, we're all in this pressure cooker. And so, you know, just because of outside things that's going on the outside. So when you are stuck in the house or you're under this pressure cooker called 2020, relationships, when issues come up in relationships, it seems super huge. Like it magnifies it to a point where it's literally like, dude, I'm about to explode. When under normal circumstances, you may not react or respond that way. But because 2020 is such a pressure cooker, these things get magnified to such a great extent and so quickly. And I feel like that's why a lot of people have been saying, myself included, that 2020 has brought a bunch of revelations about friendships, about friendships that are fake, friendships that are real, has brought up things in family and relationships that maybe have always been there, but maybe we were good at avoiding them or not addressing them before. But because of 2020 being such a pressure cooker, everything's magnified. You know what I mean? And so everybody's doing something about it. Like it's either they're responding to it, they're blowing up about it, they're canceling people, or they're like, hey, let's sit down at the table and let's deal with this. Like this is something that's real and we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, with just us and, you know, my husband, my amazing husband who I love so much, just going through his stroke and on our way of recovery, and just him coming out of the miracle of, not just coming out of the miracle of the hospital, because there was a bunch of stuff that happened in the hospital. You know, we haven't shared 100% of things, but not just coming out of the miracle of coming out of the hospital, but the miracle of getting out of the bed that day in the midst of having a stroke. All of that, it's like you have to remind yourself to celebrate the miracle of that. Be grateful for that. But on the other side of it, there's a huge, long journey of recovery that's happening. And in the midst of that journey of recovery, there's things that are happening, and it's frustrating. You know, it's frustrating because he's frustrated that he can't do a lot of the things that he did before. And then it's frustrating for me because I'm expecting him to do some things that he did or respond in ways that he didn't respond before. But he's not, because there's this recovery and there's this journey of coming back to where he was. And because of that, there's so much grace that's needed. Like we need more grace in our relationship. And that's something that we talked about this weekend, you know?
Yeah, it was something that we definitely decided to talk about. That, you know, a lot of times we forget, as we said earlier, we forget about giving grace, but we would definitely talk about giving grief. And we've given each other all kinds of grief. The doorbell's gonna ring here certainly.
How do you know?
Shortly,
How do you know?
I could hear it.
Is it delivery?
It's yeah, prophetic,
Oh.
but it's okay. You guys just bear with us, because I need you to see this, is that, you know, when Kai and I have gone through these issues, the stroke and the sickness, and not me being the same guy I was before, and not being who I want to be or was before to her, that the key thing is grace will make you see through the lens of gratefulness. Because when you stop giving grace, you stop being thankful.
Yeah.
And what happens is, and I'm not just talking about Kai, I'm talking about even with me, because there's some things that I need from her, and that I was wanting to do for me, because I'm in this broken down state mentally, and I need her to do some things. And guess what? It's not fair for me to expect her to be something that she's not. And so what happens? I still have that capacity to go to my God and say, God, I need grace, to give grace.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's really true.
Because I got to go to God and say, God, I need grace to give grace to my wife, because she's dealing with issues too. The same prayer I'm praying over here in my closet is the same prayer she's praying over there in their closet. And God says, look, it's up to both of you. I've given you what you need. Now I've given you grace. Now give each other the grace that you need to not cause grief.
Yeah. And that's a decision that has to be made. Like we have to make a decision that we're going to give each other grace, especially in this time where everything's unfamiliar. Everything's unfamiliar for me. Like I don't know what's normal for the recovery of a stroke victim. Like even him, he doesn't know what's normal because even when we talk to our speech therapist doctors and, you know, his regular doctors, it's different for everybody. And that's what the answer everyone's given us. Well, I don't know. It's different for everybody. So it's literally like we're on this journey together, just trying to figure it out ourselves. And that's literally like what it's like. We're thinking some specialist is going to come in and tell us what's going to happen and what to expect, but that's not happening. And so in the midst of that, we're like, dude, I've never been here before, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know what you need, and I'm not sure how you need me to respond or what exactly is you're needing from me right now. And we're both at that point. And so this weekend, we literally had to look at each other and say, hey, you know what? We got to give each other more grace. But it took a little bit to get to that point to even just communicate the fact of, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what you need, but I know that this has happened to both of us. Because,
slow that down and say it again. Say what you just said. It's very important because you guys see that Pastor John had a stroke, but you don't see that John and Kaya and Judah and Heaven and Papa had a stroke.
Yeah, it happened to all of us.
All of us got hit.
Yeah. So like literally that day when he woke up different, it changed the entire dynamic of our entire family, and we all felt it, and we all were going through it, and we're all grateful that he's here.
Yeah.
We're super grateful. However, at the same time, we didn't all know how to articulate, or we didn't know the verbiage for saying, hey, you know what, this is heavy, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to be right now, because everything in our family changed, but we didn't know how to say that. And so in the midst of trying to keep life normal for my husband, you know, for him, for myself, for our kids, for our ministry, we're trying to operate at a normal tempo or whatever, but everything, it's like, what do you call it? Paradigm shift. Like there was a
paradigm.
shift.
It was a shift.
Everything shifted, you guys, and we didn't know how to say that at first. Yeah.
I just thought about, and this is one of the things from the stroke. I get really emotional now since the stroke, but I just, even with what we're going through, God has given us the grace before we even needed it.
Yeah, that's so true.
To what we're going through. Everybody's going through. You know, so you guys, and my papa's probably listening to us now, but Papa's a man's man. And he loves his son-in-law to death.
He's hard as nails, you guys.
He's hard as nails. But, you know, I remember when I was in the hospital, I could hear his voice, and he would encourage me. I'm a pastor now, and he's encouraging me to stay strong and come home and all these other things. But it never struck me that God had already placed grace upon this household for this moment.
Yeah.
And somebody like Papa, God had given him the grace to be able to bear it, to turn around and give it to me, to encourage me, even while I was in the hospital, even when I came home, even enough to give me grace to even when I'm watching the football game and I swear I see one thing and I don't see nothing. And Papa's like, no, John, you didn't see that. That you didn't see what I just saw. But he gives me the grace because I don't see things like I used to see them. But he gives me the grace. My kids, my daughter told me this weekend, and it broke my heart. But she looked at me and she says, Dad, I hate when you say that you're not a good dad.
Because of the stroke. Because
of the stroke. She goes, I keep telling you you're a good dad. But it never hit me that, listen, God has already given Heaven the grace to be able to bear what she's bearing, to be able to show me and give me grace
when you need it,
when I need it. And she's like, stop speaking those things, Dad.
I'm
literally, my daughter looking says, you got to stop speaking those things.
Yeah.
They affect me, and I need to hear you. I need you to hear as I'm prophesying to you, Dad, I need you to understand who you are and receive this grace from God that has been given to me, and I'm giving it to you, Dad.
That's
so
powerful.
It's powerful, and even in the family dynamic, even when it's with Kaya and I, you know, because the hidden things, when the door closes, nobody knows what goes on, because you can hear the conversations, but you don't know what's going on. You don't know the text messages that we have, the unseen looks, the unseen thoughts, the things that we deal with as far as husband and wife. And God gave my wife grace, and just to put it out there, she sends me a picture and she says, I miss these days. And I was completely flabbergasted. What do you mean you miss these days? And she said, we need to talk. And we sat down and we talked. And I told myself at that moment, I said, I'm going to keep my mouth shut because she needs to talk. But of course, I'm going to try to fix everything. But anyway, after we talked, after the conversation was done, I just went to the Father. And he just told me, he's like, son, I give more grace. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of grace. He says, humble yourself in due season, and then you'll be exalted.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And as I listen to his word in my heart is when I get wisdom. And then he began to tell me, listen, the wisdom of all this is I've given you enough grace to give your wife more grace. And after I got that truth in my heart, I went to her and we had a conversation and I said something to her and I embraced her just to say, you know what? I love you. And I just need, out of all this, I need to make sure I give you more grace.
Yeah, and for some reason, when he did that, like I felt it in my spirit. Like I felt it. Like we've hugged and we've embraced many times. He says that he's loved me many times, but it was something about that moment, and it must have been because you just spent time with the Lord and you came down, and it was like I felt a difference, and because of. After his stroke, he's sensitive about certain things because it affects and attacks his confidence, because there's certain things that he could do before that he's struggling in now. And that affects, not just a man's confidence, but everybody's confidence, And so I'm always really kind of careful about the issues that I want to bring up, because he's already struggling. He's already wrestling within himself privately, and then here I come bringing something, and then now it just the fight becomes too hard. It feels too hard for him. So I just appreciate the way that the Lord helped me kind of bring that up, because one of the things I feel like it was important for us to realize, and for John to realize, is that this happened to both of us. You know what I mean? Like, this has affected both of us. This is not just your fight. It's not just you waking up every day and you're feeling like you're clocking into this fight by yourself. Like, you're bringing all of us with you. We're all affected by this.
And it's selfish. It's selfish for me to not realize and recognize that it's all of us.
Yeah.
And not just me.
You. Yeah. And not just that, but you were talking about how God provided the grace before we need it. I mean, that's even for at the Building Christian Fellowship. Dude, I swear, like, being a part of the Building Christian Fellowship in such an intricate way has showed me such great value about connection and being in a healthy church with healthy relationships. I'm not saying every relationship, it's all peaches and cream and everybody's like, I just like you so much. Like, no, it's like a real family. Like, but there's real connections. And when this happened, God had already supplied enough grace at our ministry at the Building where we could be cared for by them. And I couldn't imagine being pastors of a church where the pastor was just everything. Like, we were just everything. And the whole buck stopped with just us. Like, I cannot imagine what those weeks and what those months would have been like if everything would have stopped, because there's no one there to pour into us. There's no one there to comfort us, because we're the comforter ones. We're the preachers. We're the, churches that don't establish healthy leadership and accountability and counsel among the brethren, like, it's setting pastors up to fail, literally. It's setting themselves up as pastors to be overwhelmed, to be crushed. Like, I'm so thankful for the people that God has surrounded us with at TBCF. Like, dude, there is no better life than the life that we have connected to those amazing people. Like, during this pastor appreciation, I swear people were led by the Spirit of God in the way that they honored Pastor John and myself, because they didn't know some of the weight that we were carrying, and some of the things that we were wrestling with. I'm sorry for getting emotional. But this past Sunday, if you guys didn't see the message, you guys should go back and listen to it. But as John recanted all the things that we've been through over these past couple of months, dude, I got overwhelmed. I got overwhelmed because I'm like, dude, that stuff is hard. But for some reason, God's grace, just like he said, his grace is sufficient. So every day didn't seem hard. Like, we just got through it. But as John reflected on it in the message, and he started recanting all these things that has happened in the past couple of months, like, I got so overwhelmed, you guys, sitting in that front row listening to him. All I could do is just weep. Like all strength just left me because I'm thinking, how in the world?
How did we get through that?
How in the world did I make it through that? How in the world did our kids make it through that? How in the world did our church make it through all that stuff? And it's because it's true. The word is true. God is true. He is not a liar. He is true. His grace is sufficient for thee. You know?
He gives you enough grace for the day.
And his strength is made perfect.
And his strength is made perfect.
In our weaknesses, in our frailty, in our injuries, in our offenses, in the things that we carry and we're hurting, that's where his strength is made perfect. And his strength was made perfect, you guys, to such a point where I'm telling you, I was like incapacitated on Sunday just listening to it. Because I was thinking, all that happened. Like literally, it was like God just kind of unveiled it. And I'm like, what in the world? It was almost like when I'm like lifting weights with Raquel. Like if I don't have her spotting me, like I don't feel like I could get through some lifts. There's some certain things I don't feel like I could get through unless Raquel spots me. But the moment she takes her hands off or the moment she steps back, like it's too heavy. And I'm like, I'm about to get crushed. The light's on. I'm about to get crushed. You know, and it was like literally like this is what happens when the Lord is spotting us. When his grace is there, you don't even realize how much weight you just lifted. You don't even realize how much stuff you just pushed through.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking is that, God will supply you enough grace the same way that he told, and here comes the preacher in me, he told the Israelites that I will give you enough manna. You will go out and get enough manna for that day. Don't try to store up some because it'll rot. You try to hide it, literally. You try to hide it and shovel it, put it somewhere. You try to cook it and do whatever. It'll rot. And God said, just get enough for that day. And God says, I will give you the bread of life. And what is the bread of life? It is Jesus Christ. And grace personified is Jesus Christ. And he gives us a portion of him every day.
Every day.
And here's the issue. And what Paul said, I dare not frustrate the grace of God.
Wow.
And sometimes we frustrate the grace of God because we decide to go beyond what God has given us each day. He has given us enough grace for this day. Don't think not for what you might eat for tomorrow. See, that's thinking about grace for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm giving you grace for today. And that's what God is saying. Look, and as we're looking and reflecting on this, every day seemed like my tank is empty, God. When I close my eyes, my grace bank is empty. His mercies are renewed every day.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So when I wake up in the morning, I get a fresh batch of grace. Doesn't matter how I feel. I may feel like I'm running on empty, but God says, no matter how you feel, I've given you enough grace to bear it, to get through it.
Yeah.
But don't you frustrate my grace.
That
means leave that. Frustrating the grace of God literally means this. The grace of God is the Son of God. He is God himself. And when you frustrate the grace of God, that means that you push his grace aside and try to do something yourself. This is why people end up in suicide. They end up in drug addiction. They end up in bad relationships. They go into doing different things. But God says, don't frustrate my grace, that we should be able to understand that whatever God's given us, whatever manna that we have, that we went and we have to go and gather it.
Yeah.
We still got to go and gather. Give us this day our daily bread. We got to go out and get that daily bread to sustain us for this day, so that the next day I get out early in the morning. Will I seek thee so that I will have this daily bread to get me through this day?
Ooh, that's so good. That is so good. That's good stuff right there. You should preach that on Sunday. Reese said that's why he is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. So we don't get ahead.
We don't get ahead.
We can't. It's literally one. Grace is for each step.
That's a pastor's daughter right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a PK.
It's for each step. It's not. He's not going to lay out the whole journey for you. And I believe that's why the Lord says that we please him by our faith. It's only by faith that we please the Lord. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Because if we're not living by faith, then we're living on our preparation, on our strength, on what we've taken the time to prepare and store up for ourselves. Well, that's not living on faith, right? Each step is for the grace in which we, for what we need for each step. And the rest of the way, which is not lit up yet, because the lamp is upon our feet and the light upon our path. The rest of it that's still in the darkness, that's still the still unknown of tomorrow, the still unknown of next week, the still unknown of next month. That's all that is under faith. It's all under what we believe on our Lord Jesus Christ. Never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor a seed begging bread. Lo, he is with me always, even to the end of the earth. Like, he will never leave me or forsake me. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All the part that's not lit up is all in faith. And we're going to please him because we're going to keep stepping according to the grace that he's given us. We're going to keep walking out those steps, and we're going to just keep pleasing the Lord.
Yeah, so, I mean, practically, what does it look like to give somebody grace?
Yeah.
I mean, I just got done preaching a sermonette, and praise God, it was good. I think some of you guys, yeah, they call them a sermonette.
Yeah, it's good.
It was good, but what's good with you getting some good word?
If you don't know how to apply it.
We got to apply it.
Let's talk about wisdom.
How are we going to take this grace, and God's given us grace?
Yeah, how do we give it?
How do we give it? In a great house, there are vessels of honor and dishonor.
Yeah.
The difference between the vessels of honor and dishonor isn't because they're made of clay or they're made of gold or brass or whatever it is. The vessel significance is what it's holding. So God will fill your cup up with grace, and your job is to pour out grace into an empty vessel. And maybe not just an empty vessel, maybe you just need to find other people to pour grace into. And let's talk about husbands. Let's talk about wives. Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about teachers, especially the things that we're dealing with right now. The world is in need of grace. And guess what? We got to stop looking at the world. We got to stop looking at the world as if they have grace to give.
Yeah, like they're supposed to know better already.
You know, the presidential candidates, they ain't giving each other grace. The news media ain't giving nobody grace. But the people of God,
we have grace to give.
We got grace to give.
Because we're vessels of honor. We're
to
holding
each
it.
of us.
Yeah, we're all holding that. We're carriers of that.
I need to give. Let me start here with my wife.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I honor her. That I honor her first. And that's not even saying about me honoring God. I'm talking about with her as far as this horizontal relationship, that I honor her with giving her what she needs. And watch this. Even when she's not feeling the way that she feels, like she's looking at me going, why isn't he being what I expected him to be? Or isn't he getting this? Or this ain't the same man that I married. And I'm not talking about because of just a person, because of the stroke. So she has that. She still has these feelings. She still has those feelings. And me, I'm sitting there going, I'm the one that had the stroke. But instead of me thinking about myself, I have to go, you know what, God? I'm going to go to the Father. I'm going to get some grace, and I'm going to give some grace.
Yeah.
So when I give grace, grace will flood her life. It will sustain her. It will encompass her. And when that peace that surpasses all understanding hits her, then guess what? When that grace hits her, then all of a sudden, you know what she gets? She gives grace back.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
That's the exchange.
That is the exchange.
And so, like, in a practical way, it could be, like he's like, man, I'm not feeling well today. I'm struggling with something, like, and he wants me to automatically know or see it or recognize it. And
I wanted to read my mind.
Right. And so with that, it's like, then he wants me to respond in a certain way. Like, hey, don't you see through my body language or whatever that but if I don't, because I'm like, hey, I'm moving on with dinner. I'm asking these questions. I'm like, hey, what do you want to do about the ministry with this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey. you know, and so these feelings come up like, hey, don't you see? But the truth of the matter is I don't. So then Grace says, well, I'm going to communicate to her how I'm feeling. And then with me, oh, now I need to respond in action or through body language of that I care. You know what I mean? So it's both of us coming to a level where we can meet each other at and where love can be. Because instead of me always saying, hey, you get up here to my level, you fight hard and strive to get here. And he's like, hey, come down to where I at because I'm hurting. You come down here. And then we both are right in our stance. And so it's like we could both be like, hey, I'm feeling some sort of way because you didn't come down here. You didn't come up there. Grace says, hey, let's meet. I'm going to meet you where you are.
And guess what it is? Guess where we meet at? We meet at the level of grace.
Oh, that's good.
We meet at a level of grace. I'm
yeah.
not going to ask her to come up.
Nope.
I'm not asking her to come down.
Nope.
The job of each vessel of honor is to meet at the level of grace.
That's so good. Dude, that's so good. Like, I just think just us living this out right now, like, this is just ministering to my soul because it's true. Like, we're literally living this out right now. Like, everything that we thought we knew about marriage has now been thrown out, and we've been given a whole new set of cards. And it's like, do a good job. It's like somebody just threw us a whole new set of cards and saying, do a good job. Go ahead, go kill it.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. So, dude, living this out, I'm learning so much, and I just believe that the Lord is constantly showing us that there's always more to learn. You know, we could
always.
Honestly, like a year ago, I could have easily told you, "Oh, marriage? Oh, I got this. Oh, we got this down. That's our strong point. We got this." But things have been shifted.
There's a shift,
and we're learning again, but. We have to look at it with eyes of gratefulness. Like, man, isn't this exciting that we get to do this?
Yeah.
Isn't this exciting that we get to learn new things about each other? We get to learn how to serve each other in a different way. We get to learn how to give each other more grace. And God's just giving us a new level to build upon, which is great because that means our house is expanding, if you think about it.
It is. And our house is becoming even more of a place of peace and of grace. Now, you know, some people will come into our house and not realize when they come in here whatever's in their heart, they can actually come in here, and this is just it's a sanctuary, and it's a place for ministering, and a place for love and grace being in there. And I just want to share. Just like even with my wife, just this last weekend, just even after I've had that experience with the Father and talking, and then I just came to her and hugged her, that, watch this, I've noticed what she's done in her, what she's trying to do basically to give me grace, to meet my need. I've watched her, and I'm acknowledging it because, you know, what I want, she'll do it. She's not saying anything, she's not complaining, she's not doing nothing. But at the same time, I like it, but I also need to give her grace because she still has to run the house. She still has to cook. She still has to do what she does. And don't y'all say nothing to me about gender roles. Okay? I may be the man of the house, but this is my wife's house. Yeah, okay? If you guys understand that, you understand that. This is my wife's house, and she takes care of everything. But as the man, I need to make sure that I give her grace to do what she needs to get done, and things of that nature. But I just wanted to just tell you, babe, I really, really appreciate the grace that you've been giving me lately, just a lot, just within a weekend, and what you've been doing for me, and it's really done my heart really good. So I just want to thank you for that. I love you too.
Well, I don't have anything else. My coffee's gone, y'all, and I drank it all.
Not mine. I drink mine slow.
I was trying to drink it slow, but my coffee was just good. Man, you guys have been saying some good stuff on here, man. I got to go back and like all the comments because you guys have been saying some good stuff. But thank you for letting us share about grace, you guys. It's just literally, we're just walking it out.
I said, Pastor Verlene,
yeah,
hey.
She says she's been married for 25 years and they're still meet each other's level of grace. Yeah. It's like, it's a constant change, and where that grace level is
Yeah.
based off our experiences and things that we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's really helping and what's important is, I've been saying this all year. I feel like I've been saying it, reminding you guys of this all year. It's like, we get to do this. You know what I mean? These challenges, we get to meet them. We get to grow in them. We get to grow in those areas. We get to have these rough edges of our life sanded off. It's an opportunity. It's another invitation that the Lord has given us to grow in different ways. Like, we shouldn't always feel like we want to stay the same. Like, okay, I got this. Like, no. God's constantly changing the workout. He's constantly changing the floor plan. Like, there's new things and new strengths he wants us to have. So I want to encourage all of you guys, as you grow in your relationships, just remember the importance of grace, man. Some people hate change because of that. Some people hate change because they know that that's going to be a new level of grace. Like, they're going to have to, because when there's a change, everybody's not good at everything now. And I think that's what's been the hardest part about us right now. Like, we're not that good at it right now. We're not. Like, we're sucking in some areas. So
Bad.
yeah, and so great new levels of grace is needed. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to grow. So love you guys so much. Thank you guys for rocking with us today.
Yeah, and just as a what do they say? PS? Is that what it means?
Yeah.
So
Last thought.
yeah, last thought. We talk about relationships between couples. I also just want to tell you too is that because of cancel culture, we tend to not give anybody any grace. That's why we cancel people out, because it's easier for us to cut somebody off than it is to give them grace.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's it.
It is easy to cut you off than to give somebody grace.
Can I tell you guys, like, before I was saved, I'm going to say saved, because I've been saved since I was a kid. But before I was saved, like, that was my thing. I'd be like, oh, you're on the list. Bye. You're done. You're on my list. And once you're on my list, like, I have nothing to do with you. I don't call you. I don't look at you. You don't exist. Like, I believe that level of apathy, right? Mm-hmm. It's apathy or it's empathy? Which one?
I'm trying to finish
I think it's apathy. That level of apathy, just don't care. That's fleshly. That's super fleshly.
Yeah.
The flesh tells you, write them off. Forget them. You don't need them. Our flesh, see, this is taking us into a whole nother conversation. Our flesh destroys community while our spirit builds community. God is all about family. He's all about placing us in a community. Why? Because there's safety in a multitude of counsel. There's safety in counsel. But our flesh says, I don't need nobody. I don't want nobody. I don't need nobody telling me what to do. I got myself. That's what our flesh tells us, because our flesh is a destroyer of community. But our spirit man is a builder of community, but community takes work because there's not always agreement. We don't agree on all points. Why? Because we're different.
I got to share this. If Mama Babs is on here, we got to talk about this, y'all. This was a while ago. And she was upset with me. Okay.
Why are you telling Mama Babs business? How you know she wants you to tell a story?
Well, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'm just going to tell you because we had a difference of opinions about.
I love me some Mama Babs.
About some candidates, and this wasn't this year, a couple years ago, but she was mad. And she loves me. She loved Kai. Loved Mama Betty, and
love my Mama
loves
Babs.
us but she was ready to write me off. And she told me, she was at church one day. She goes, I was about to quit the church and everything.
Ooh, Mama Babs.
She was mad.
Mama Babs.
But she looked at me and watched this. Because it was grace.
And love.
And love.
Love makes you go to the person.
That goes and tells. And then she told me about it. And I just smiled and I was like, I don't know what you may have thought I heard you or you thought I said. But it's okay. You like whoever you like. That's fine. And when he said it, we said it to each other. She laughed and she gave me a hug, and that's what grace is all about.
And community.
Grace, it makes. I'm lost for words. But grace will. It makes
up the difference. I don't know where you're going.
I know. It's a byproduct.
Ooh, of what? Love?
Community.
Ooh, yes. Grace, community, and love. Like
yes.
that should be a sermon series.
Right.
We should do something.
Because people are like, look, and I talked about it yesterday. You know, we don't always agree. And I joked about it yesterday, and I was trying to be funny about it, but at the end of the day, we're not going to agree. But sometimes the agreement is the disagreement.
Yeah.
So we can walk hand in hand, but still be to disagree.
Marlon's trying to make T-shirts. He's like,
Marlon,
dude, T-shirt.
Marlon,
That needs to be on a shirt.
Marlon, you crazy.
Like, but it's true though. Like grace, love, and community, like they all go together because it takes those three to stay within it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if not, it falls apart. That is grace, love, and community is that threefold cord that keeps the community protected. That keeps us together.
And what you got to understand too is that even in a community, that grace and love, because of this pandemic that's happening, people are still bound by love, by grace, and by community.
Yeah.
Even when they're not inside of the building.
Even when they're not together.
Together. Yeah. And that's because we took time to fortify our relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now watch this, and I'm just to share you as a pastor, people have left the church and made cancel culture. They've jumped into cancel culture because they didn't like what was said. They didn't like
how it was handled.
From the whole Black Lives Matter issues to systemic racism,
COVID.
to All Lives Matter, to COVID, and
that.
every these things that have been preached over the pulpit.
Be in church physically or just only online.
All this, we've lost people because of that. But
Cancel.
guess what? Because cancel culture. Because people don't want to agree with
They're
it.
like, you're canceled.
You're done. You're canceled. Bye. We'll never talk to you. But then guess what? You got people that are running into the church right now because they're like, dude, I want part of this community.
Yeah.
I want part of this love. I want part of this grace.
Right.
And so with that, what I want to share with you guys is make sure that we are giving each other
Grace.
more grace
Yes.
than we're giving grief.
That's so good. Like it's okay for us to have these feelings. Nobody's telling you your feelings don't matter. Your feelings do matter. And your feelings are very important and they're very valid. But I feel like when we feel like we can't talk about those feelings or we can't share those feelings with each other, that's not love. Like love will say, I love you so much, I dare not hold a part of myself back from you. Do you get what I mean? Like when John and I were first married, like within the first 3 years, it was hard because whenever he would get upset, he'd stop talking. He'd just stop talking to me. I mean, I'm talking about for days, y'all. I could not take that. Me, I'm like, let's sit down. Let's hash this out. Let's argue if we need to argue. Let's go back and forth. Because to me, that's what love is. Love still sits down. Love still shows up and sits down at the table. But when you withhold a part of yourself back from me and you stop talking to me or you act like I don't exist, that's telling me I don't love you. You don't get a part of me. So community and grace and love says, I dare not hold a part of myself back from you. I feel something and I'm going to tell you what I feel because I love you and because you're a part of my community and because I'm ready to give you grace and I want you to give me grace back to listen to how I'm feeling right now. This is so important. I really wish more Christians would really settle into this truth because we get caught up in the world's vision of community. The world's vision of community says everybody speaks the same language, agrees and wears the same clothes, they look the same, they act the same, they talk the same. And that's not true. We're all different. We're like a bouquet. You know what I mean? It's like a flower bouquet. You know, and so our personalities are different and the way we process things are different. And that's the reason why we meet at the Word of God, which is the truth. Because everybody can be like, well, this is my truth, well, this is my truth, this is my truth. But we all meet at the level of grace to say, what is God's truth? And that's where we meet, and that's where we live our lives.
Right there in the Bible.
That's our meeting spot,
It's
God's truth. Because if not, I'm coming with my truth. Because we hear it all the time. That's my truth.
That's my truth.
I'm living my truth. What's God's truth, though? Because when we all live our own truths, that's how we get a big level of confusion. But God's not the author of confusion. He did not create confusion. He created his truth, his word, and it's living and it's alive. and it's ready to transform lives, but we got to meet there at that level of grace.
Yeah, and Pastora Reese even said that it's gotten to a point where people's feelings have become idols.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Their own
good.
idols. And that when you have a feeling, your feeling is, this is my truth.
And we create a God out of it.
And now we're worshiping our feelings of anger, mad, and all these other things. And now you get a hold of it. That's why you're seeing people, in the Karens, the people, I can't take it, because they have become worshipers of indifference.
Yeah.
And because they've held up their own truth and their feelings, they now have worshipped at the idol and sacrificed their emotions and their even their thoughts towards their God.
Worship, yeah. That's worship.
And now that's where they're at now. They cancel everything else.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
kind of people are doing that.
Yeah. And so we got to be careful, you guys, not to allow our flesh to be a destroyer of our communities. We have to allow our spirit man to build and safeguard our communities, make our communities healthy. And healthy is having conversations that aren't always comfortable, but it's for the sake of health. Just like we lay down on our operating table. That ain't always comfortable having surgery, but some things got to get cut out, and the scalpel is the word of God. And we got to allow that
He's
to
a
happen.
two-edged sword.
Yes, he is. Separating marrow,
Dividing
and
the soul and the spirit.
spirit, man. That's a sharp scalpel right there, man. That's the sharpest of the sharp. And I'm sure that ain't comfortable, especially when we got to see what's going on in ourselves. It ain't always cute. It ain't always pretty.
No.
So if there's any ladies on here, please be sure to register for our women's conference.
Yeah, ladies, get on
Fearfully
there.
and Wonderfully Slayed. Get those registrations in for our virtual conference,
Sooner
you guys.
than later.
It's gonna be awesome.
Don't procrastinate.
Yeah, we want to get you guys' conference
Ahora.
bags out to you guys. So get your registrations in.
Tell a
in soon.
friend.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited.
It's gonna be really good. Who's gonna be there?
All kind of people. But Sherry Silk of Loving on Purpose, she's actually also the director of Jesus Culture. So she's just like a boss, like super, super heavy in administration. Like she's very organized. But Loving on Purpose, that's something organization that she and her husband Danny Silk run. And they're just phenomenal people.
They're great people.
They're really great in leadership skills and emotional intelligence, all that stuff, just good stuff. And then Stacy Giacchino, she and her husband, Pastor Damon, they're one of the pastors over at Real Life Sacramento. Stacy Giacchino, she and her husband started the young adults called, they have a conference every year.
Dalte.
Yeah, called Don't Awaken Love Too Early. And they're just doing a great job, just creating a great movement with the young adults in the young adult community. So,
Oh yeah. Hey, and Morgan, it's virtual, so you can actually watch.
It's just online.
It's
And-
online.
Yeah, and if you can't be there for the live event, once you register, you'll be able to replay the conference anytime you want. So if you can't be there from like those times, you get the replay. Like you get the link, so that means you can replay it. You can watch my message over and over again if you need to. I'm just saying.
There's gonna be a
because-
couple of cameos of me somewhere.
Yeah, he'll probably be like photobombing something. So you guys don't miss it. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us today. We're gonna close out for the second time. This is our second
Really?
closing.
Yeah, we got stuff we gotta do today.
We do. We got to get stuff going. I feel energized though. I don't know. It just came out of nowhere. I feel like just sitting down with you and then sitting down with you guys and just listening to some of the stuff you guys share was good stuff.
And 2 cups of coffee.
And 2 cups of coffee. Yeah, I feel energized. Like out of nowhere, I'm ready to take on this day. I love you guys so much. Thank you for rocking with us.
She's getting
I
ready
love
to
you,
drive.
Rio.
She's gonna drive me to my doctor's appointment.
I'm his chauffeur now, you guys.
And I'm going to sleep.
I like being his chauffeur though. It's pretty cool. I like it.
I'm gonna sleep
Yeah,
to Martinez.
yeah. I actually kind of like being his chauffeur. It's kind of nice.
All right, y'all. Well, we love you.
Love you guys so
God
much.
bless. Have a good day. Rest of the day. See you Tuesday at church.
Yep.
Or we'll see you
Online
Sunday.
Yep. Love you guys so much. Bye.
Bye.